We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High, Yah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Let's take it to John 5:39. John 5:39. And it says this: search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. J Bird, tighten up, man. You got to tighten up. It's not the time nor the place, sir. Not the time nor the place. 1 Kings chapter 2, that's 2 Kings chapter 2, so that's not going to benefit anyone. It's not going to benefit anyone. 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die. He charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. And keep the charge of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as is written in the Torah of Moses, that thou may prosper in all that thou do, whithersoever thou turn thyself. The first thing we got here is the word for be strong. It's called kazak. It means to strengthen or to prevail or to be courageous. We have a kat, we have a zayin, and a kuf. And you may proceed to come up with something right there. I will give you a moment. Kat, zayin, and kuf. That's what you got. That's to be strong. He told him, notice that he told him to be strong, and then he told him so he could show himself a man. Kat, zayin, and kuf. So to be strong in this instance, he said you need to be courageous and you need to strengthen yourself. And so we're going to look at a lot of attributes and stuff. It's a long one too, but I got to read the proper verses for that before we do that. Old Kot, Zion, and Cooper. Anybody ready to take a shot at that? Take a roll with the dice. Anybody ready to roll the dice? Now, of course, for the context of what's going on here, David is telling Solomon to show himself a man right before he tell him what judgments he ought to render to certain men. Some his enemies, some not. Kat, Zayin, and Kuf. But anybody like to try? Does anybody have anything? Does anybody have anything for Kat? Not cough. You got Kat, Zayin, and Kuf. No cough. You got final? Does anybody else would like to throw anything out there for that Kuf? Anyone else? Does anybody have anything that they would like to proffer for Zayin? To be fruitful? Would anybody got anything they like to use for Kat? So you talking about separate fruitfulness, but you're going to come with kaf on that. I mean, kuf on that. And how you going to relate that to being strong or courageous? You said a weapon? Right. So what would you use for kuf on that? I don't know who phone that is over there, but you might want to get it. I'm gonna tell you what I have for you to protect the nourishing light. Do you remember what nourishing means? It would mean something that supports or sustains, because nourish is one of the meanings for Zayin. They didn't want to use separate for Kot because that's not really either going to use surround or protect. But since he's telling him to be strong and to be courageous, you have to protect what is sustaining you. And of course, we already talked about the light on Wednesday. Does anybody recall of what we looked at in regards to the light on Wednesday? Is anyone in here even aware? I'll take that silence as a no. So you might want to find out about that. So nevertheless, Yahushua said, well, John the Baptist is written that it says that Yahushua was the light and the light was the life of men. So in order for you to be strong, to protect and to nourish the light, something needs to occur to be able to support and sustain the light. So let's take ourselves to Luke chapter 11 now. So I'm in the right spot. I am. Luke 11 and 33 is sufficient. And look at what he tell you in regards to be able to protect that light. He say, no man, this is Luke 11 and 33, when he had lighted a candle, put it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when the eye is single, thy whole body also is full of light. But when thy eye is evil, thy body is also full of darkness. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. If thy whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle doth give thee light. So in his statement of what he just made here in these 4 verses, what do you believe that he's trying to convey to his audience? He told you the light of the body is an eye, wherefore when thy eye is single, the whole body is full of light. But when thy eye is evil, the whole body is full of darkness. Does anybody have any idea what he's trying to convey? Especially when he told you to take heed that the light which is in you does not be darkness. Because if you're going to be strong, to strengthen and prevail and be courageous, you need to protect this light that is going to support and sustain you. No, he told him, if you don't tighten up, I'm going to take your candlestick. Yeah, he told him if they didn't tighten up, I'm going to take that. And not just the lust of the eyes. Pay attention to what he's saying to you. He say either your light that's going to be in you is going to be what? Light or darkness. It's not going to be both. You know what I'm saying? Look at what he tells you. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, the whole body is full of light. When thy eye is evil, the whole body also is full of darkness. Therefore, take heed that the light that is in you is not darkness.
Does that correlate when he says in the law, like 111 or
Say that again?
like if you got like a little leaven in you?
Yeah, that's not in the law. That's the state. Paul made that statement.
Or is it similar to that? Like you got sin reigning in your body, get rid of it? Like
Yeah, he basically telling you need to pay attention. Because either you're going to be evil or you're going to be just. But you're not going to be both. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be both. So he said you need to pay attention and make sure that the light that is in you is not dark. Meaning, you better make sure, hold on, I ain't got it in my book because I don't have that page in here no more. But y'all know what 1 John 3 and 8 say, correct? What does 1 John 3 and 8 tell you? It's of the devil. So if you commit sin, you are the devil. So if you commit sin, what light would be in you? Darkness. But he said if your eye be single or you focus on the living Elohim, then guess what that light in you would be? Let's look at something in John 8 and 44. Maybe this will help you out a little bit. I'll back it all the way up to John 8 and 40. Shalom, Brother Brown. It's good to hear from you, man. Make that 8 and 38. Oh, I need somebody to look on the calendar because it's not on top of my head, for I've been done forgot, and then be close to it. But whatever dates is February the 1st and 2nd, we got a baptism to do.
Friday and Saturday.
So the 2nd is Saturday, must be. Then that's the day we got a baptism. I think we got another one next week. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I think that's what he told me. He'll probably take me somewhere. I'll figure it out. I'll map it out. Because I don't recall where we're going to be at. So where we're going to be at is going to determine where we're going to slide. If we on this side of town, I think we probably go to where we took Kira's son at. Because that's just going to be more efficient than talking about going to the beach. The water going to be cold regardless. So, man, do. He said, I speak that which I've seen with my Abba, and you do that. This is John 8 and 38. Do that which you have seen with your Abba. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our Abba. Yahushua saith unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I heard of Elohim. This did not Abraham. You do the deeds of your Abba. They said to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even Elohim. Yahushua said unto them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me. For I proceed forth and come from Elohim, neither came of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. If you are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father, you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. And when he speak a lie, he speak of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So if there's no truth in him, Psalms 27 and 1, if I'm not mistaken, but in many places they tell you that the word is like a light or a lamp to their feet, right? Job tells you several times, when the Mashai told you if a man walk in darkness, he don't know where he going. See, he got that from Job, because Job said it too. Job say the wicked, they walk in darkness, they don't know where they're going. So when your eye is full of darkness, at that particular point, you can't be a man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be impossible. See, let me show you why. 1 Corinthians 13, because it's another thing that sparked why we dealing with this here. I thought I was going to delay it, but praise Yah, he had different ideas. So 13 and 9. Now remember, right, everything we dealt with in 1 Corinthians 13, right? When you look at that, right, love having patience, love not envying, love not being proud, love not being behavior unbecoming of an officer, so to speak, unseemly behavior, love not being easily provoked, love not thinking any evil, not rejoicing in lawlessness, but bearing things and believing things and hoping things and enduring things, and how these things won't fail. So if you weren't doing those things before, according to what Paul gonna state, you were a child. You know why? Because children don't think, they just react. Y'all do, clearly y'all know that, y'all got a room full of them. You think they sit there and think about what they do or the consequences of what they do? They just do what feels good in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Whatever consequence I catch for that, that's what I catch for that. It's been plenty of times you done told them a direct directive, direct order. Don't you do that. They thought about it, and they went over there and did it, and they didn't really could compute in their brain, I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I'm probably not. And they do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand the consequences of what they doing. See, pause. Come over here to, before we read this 1 Corinthians 13, come over here to 1 Peter chapter 1. First Peter 1 and 13. Let me do that instead. 1 Peter 1 and 13. Just bear with me. Because I got a lot, so I got to make sure I crank it up a notch. It says, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind. Remember, we talked about that last night and Wednesday. He telling you to gird up. So if he telling you to gird up, he telling you to strengthen your mind. Not only that, but the loins of your mind, which is basically the same thing that Yah was saying to Job. And remember, that's the Aleph, the Zayin, and the Rosh, and that's the power of the fruit of the highest. So if you're going to gird up your loins of your mind, you want to gird your mind up with the resurrection of Yahushua and the things that were produced from that. We already know the things that were produced from that. It's Lord, it's love, it's joy, it's shalom, it's faith, it's long suffering, it's meekness, it's gentleness, it's goodness, it's temperance. These are the things that produce when you gird your mind up. And of course, when you're looking at the loins, that's your seat of virility. And now you have that kot lamad and that sod. And this is the way of discipline that's going to separate you. Once you take that power, that fruit of the highest, then this is going to teach you and direct you in a way that's going to discipline you that you don't go outside of those bounds. Nevertheless, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is brought unto you at the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach. As obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lusts in your ignorance, but as he which have called you is Kadash, so ye be Kadash in all manner of conduct. Because it is written, be ye Kadash, for I am Kadash. Now, of course, he describes you as being children. But in this fashion, we're looking at it in this regard because you were ignorant. You didn't know any better. See, children, they don't really know any better. So you got to teach them better. But see, come on over here to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Now we can come back. We'll pick it up at verse 9, verse 8. Verse 8 ain't going to hurt none. See, because you got a lot of people that always quick to scheme they grown or they a man or they a woman or things of this nature. But of course, we focusing more so on men today. We got a little bit for the women, but we focusing more on men today. That's the focus. What, that boy took a tumble? He took a tumble?
Yeah, that had one. The second one.
What, you want to fight or something, cuz? You do? Well, come on over here and come get you some. Come on over here and come get you some. I ain't scared of you, cuz. You around here peacock strutting. Verse 8 of 1 Corinthians 13. Charity never fail, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but then that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. What does that mean to y'all? I know y'all all done heard it in your lifetime. I'm going to ask everyone in the room. I'll give Leisha a chance to return while we cycling around that room. What does that mean to you when you hear it? Just what it means to you, not what you think I'm looking for the answer or nothing. But when you heard that when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. What does that mean to you? Mature? Very well then. Diamond, would you like to take a crack at it even though you're still a child?
She'll act like one.
You don't act like one? Well, shoot. I care less, you're still a child. You trying to be grown out here? You done went and got a job? You paying some bills? You better not be doing grown folks' activities. Or drinking adult beverages. You don't got no idea, Diamond? What about you, D?
I would go with what Shelly said, maturity, and when you reach maturity, and consider yourself to be an adult, that you present and act like an adult and face the difference between what it means to be a child and then becoming being an adult.
Very well then. What about you, Darius? What about you, Stanley?
Me basically like things that we
Mm-hmm. What about you, Callie?
I'm gonna agree with Shayla and
That's a cop out.
I'm gonna do my own answer and Darius, but I think it's maturing and when you're a child, you have a certain level of understanding. Once you get older, you like have a better level of understanding. So you put away what you didn't know as a child, and now you're older. So, different chapters.
I will not reject that deposit. It will turn green in your account. Come on, Monte, what you got?
I can't top that. You just said I would say taking on responsibility. Just to add on to what everyone else said.
What about you, Nisha?
As a whole, what everyone else says. And, just, when you're an adult, you speak like an adult, you act like an adult,
Sugar baby.
You neglect things that are childlike. You focus on things that are
Very well. What about you, Will?
When it's just coming out of a mind, like having a mind state, like when you talk about your thoughts and like putting your mind on things that a man would put their mind on, somebody who got full understanding, put their mind on. You got to understanding before you do stuff.
Kalisha Jones. When he said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. What does that mean when you hear that? To you? Even though you still a child.
Not yet.
That's what that mean to you when you hear it. How many of y'all in this room right now think that you still think, speak, and understand as a child? I'm talking about spiritually too. I ain't talking about naturally. Because that's what he talking about. When he talking about spiritually, he's saying that spiritually I spake as a child, I understood as one, I thought as one. When I became a man, I put that away. So when was the process of him becoming a man? How do you become a man in the word? Huh? When he got the ruach, that what you say? How that happened? Well, let's look and see. I talked about this last night, right? What did the Mashiach say everybody must do to enter in the kingdom? Well, I'll give you that. Got to be born again, correct? Well, let's look at something in 1 Peter chapter 2, and let's take a stroll. And then we'll try to isolate some of the things that he mentioned. We got a ways to go. Don't on the stream, just bear with me. We got a ways to go. I hope we don't have to split it up in the next week, but that very well could occur. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. It said, wherefore laying aside all malice and all guile. Y'all know what guile is, right? What did Eve say the serpent in the garden did to her? He begot deceiver. So all deception, lies, he said you got to lay that to the side. Hypocrisies, envies, and all evil speaking as newborn babes. So basically, when you're thinking as a child, use this concept of the text, you thinking about doing evil. Do you notice what he said when we read in John? He say, all y'all, if y'all were Abraham's children, you'll do the works of Abraham. So when you thinking as a child spiritually, before you get to become born again, you thinking like what? Hey, look what he told you got to do. As newborn babes, he told you need to lie aside lying. He said you need to lie aside speaking evil. You need to lie aside hypocrisy and maliciousness. He said you need to put that to the side. See, if you still carrying that, you can't even say you a newborn babe. So spiritually, you can't even say you a child. You can't even do it. He says, newborn babes desiring the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so be you have tasted that the Lord is gracious. So if he said you tasted that sincere milk of the word, how are you going to be able to grow thereby? How does the text state how you would grow thereby to become a man? Because he said, I thought like a man, I understood as a man, I spake as a man. I spake as a child. He said, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, I spake as a child. There we go. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 5. That's it. So you can't say you a man in the word if you do not use it. You have to use it. Because if you use it, what's going to happen? You become full age. That's Hebrews 5 and 11. Hebrews 5 and 11. Of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing you're dull of hearing. For when for the time you ought to be teachers, and you have need one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Elohim, and to be are becoming such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. What is the? Well, it don't state by how to pray like a man. There's no script for that. There's no script for that. Honestly, if you're gonna pray, all I can tell you is what he said in Psalm 62. Pour out your heart before Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's how you pray. There's no manly prayer, so to speak. When he say of the first principle because of oracles of Elohim, what is that? What is the first principles of the word? Love Yahuwah with all your heart, mind, and soul. If somebody got to come, see, I was talking to a brother today, man, and he was just telling me like, yeah, he was telling his people like, hey, man, don't know where in this book this man tell you to go tell nobody that they Israel and wake them up. That's not what this is about. And people got offended. Like, how we going to wake them up? If they still in their sin name, this brother actually said that dudes told him that if we just preach against sin and preach the Mashiach, we going to sound like Christians, and that's how they going to label us. You know what I'm saying? I remember when, y'all know the nigga, man. We got to call his name. Leave that where it's at. That nigga say when he first seen me, he was like, yeah, I thought you was a Christian. I know you did, because I ain't got no Hebrew garments on. I ain't around here talking about Hebrew this and Hebrew that. I ain't around here telling you law, and I ain't saying we the law children of Israel. We got to wake the people up. I have no time for such things. That's the conversation of a child. How can you become a mature man off that type of conversation? How's that going to happen? What's that going to do for you? You can have all the Hebrew garments on you want and be 40 years old with the mind of a 10-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You can know all the law you want and be 30 years old with the mind of an 8-year-old. Because you know when I mentioned that, you know one thing children are governed by? Impulse. Impulse. They do what they feel right then in the moment. Men don't do that. Men think things out before they make a decision. You have to think that out. I've been told you that if you commit sin, it's because you thought about it first. The book tell you that. You can't do nothing. You can't make a single action in life as an adult without thinking about it first. Children don't think. They just do. That's the part that people were talking about, whatever this is, because this junk getting aggravating now. Like, screw R. Kelly. And you know why I say it? Because you've known this for 25 years. Why does it take somebody running a special for you to care? And not because he did that to these women, but that for you to care about little girls who've been being molested for decades. That ain't never going to have nobody care about them because the person who molested them wasn't famous. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden niggas fake care about little girls being touched on. Little boys being touched on. They been getting touched on. Now you care because R. Kelly did it. So you really don't care. It's just really a conversation piece. I don't like to talk about conversations that deals with human suffering. The people suffering behind that. You know how many little girls I grew up with that became whores because of that? Like, they just made it not, they naturally wanted to be a whore. They were whores because they were touched on. That's how they cope with their pain. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have no conversation about that. That's somebody real life. Somebody really damaged from that. I know people personally who's been this happened to. How many of y'all know people who were molested as a child? You know what I'm saying? I know a lot. Men too. I'm talking about men too, not just girls. I know men who've been touched on. That junk messed with them. To this day, for most of them. This nigga. You know what I'm saying? But that junk's for real though. Niggas only care about stuff when they throw it on TV. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that's why I put that thing out. That nigga was like, what about the white people? But just like they said, clearly you niggas don't watch Dateline, because that white man, Kristen, had many a child molested on his show. Right in their kitchen waiting on him while they thinking they finna pick up a 14-year-old. Dateline been doing it for decades. That junk called How to Catch a Predator. Try to run out. No, they're too late. Now you're going to jail. I can't remember that white man's last name. His name Chris. He got that same windbreaker on every time. Chris Hansen. That's his name. Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen been catching predators for decades. For decades. Guess what? They just locked Kevin Spacey up. This man just got on the internet. I seen that when I was in the gym talking crazy about what he did to a 14-year-old boy. Niggas upset because they took him off Game of Thrones, whatever house or whatever show he was on. Let that bastard be put under the jail. You know what I'm saying? Under the jail. But guess what? That little 14-year-old boy messed up for life. You know what I'm saying? Nigga done broke his hot pocket. It's over with. Straight up, it's over with. You know, it's bad for a girl. It's even bad for a boy because now he gonna be wrestling with his sexuality. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna know if he gay or not. And then 9 times out of 10, well, I ain't gonna say, probably about 70% of the time, they end up becoming abusers themselves. Don't nobody care. That don't justify what they doing. That nigga Hassan Campbell, that nigga been talking about that for years. African Bambaataa raped him. Oh, they been that bad. Oh, that old news there, cuz. You about 2-3 years late. Hassan Campbell. Now, some people say he lying. Like, some people say Hassan Campbell lying. I can't speak to that. I don't know. But they been talking about, they say, man, they known this nigga Bambaataa was molesting niggas since the 70s. Since the 70s. And guess what it is? Nigga turn their head. You know why niggas ain't talking about Bambaataa? Because Bambaataa didn't make music like R. Kelly, so you don't care enough about the kids he was molesting. But yeah, that nigga Bambaataa, it's a nigga he be on YouTube all the time. Hassan Campbell, that nigga talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Just like this here. When B2K came out and said that nigga Chris Stokes was touching on them, niggas ranked on them. Niggas ranked on them. Niggas ranked it, so that's how I know you niggas don't really care. You don't really care. Because when these boys stood up and say, this nigga had me giving head to another little boy, everybody like, them niggas gay. Them niggas gay. Man, Romeo ain't do that to them boys. Them boys scarred for life. They walking around scarred for life. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga laughed at them. That's what I'm saying. Niggas don't really care. You only care when somebody puts it in your brain for you to care. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas don't really care. That's human suffering. And niggas took human suffering and made it entertainment and made a profit off of that. You know what I'm saying? Because if that man did that to them little girls, they suffering behind that. And they made a profit off they suffering. Oh yeah, you know, they got people, there's a lot of people accused of people of touching people. They probably do. Famous people, who knows? I ain't there. You know, you have to look at why would a grown man want to have a small child with him, regardless if he's producing his music everywhere he go anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to look at that. Why would Puffy want Usher up under him? This boy 14 years old. Send that nigga home to his mammy. Let that nigga record that music. Send that nigga home. Why this nigga staying at your house? Why is you comfortable with your 14-year-old son staying at this grown man house? You don't know this nigga. This nigga just came through with a contract and said, I'm going to get your son a whole bunch of money, and you son him on off. But guess what? People send their kids off who ain't famous with niggas who touch on them every day too, and they know they do it. And guess what everybody in the family do? Turn their head. Everybody know what these niggas be doing. The same way niggas be doing, niggas be beating up on their old ladies, nigga turn their head, be like, that's their problem. Then when the nigga come up dead, then you feeling sad. That's messed up, man. She should have left him. You should have checked your homeboy. That's what you should have did. You know what I'm saying? That's what men do. That's a little different. You gotta let them know, boy, you ain't right for that. If you aware of it. How many niggas you know still hang with niggas who don't take care of their kids and they know them niggas don't take care of their kids? I'm not hanging with a nigga I know don't take care of his kids. Nigga, I don't respect you as a man. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I can't dap you up. We can't be cool. I'm not coming through to your house. We ain't hanging out. We can't do no business. We can't do nothing. No, dead serious, man. You can't, because you know, the reason being is because if that's my homeboy and I know that nigga don't take care of his kids, that means that I am implicitly stamping what he doing and that I'm with it. And I'm not with that. So I can't hang with you. So that's what it is about being, if you a man and you an honorable man, it don't matter about, well, I known him for 10, 15 years. If that junk go against your value and ideals, you're not rocking with that. I don't care how long you know. Nigga turn their head. You know a lot of niggas hang with niggas who don't take care of their kids. Niggas don't see no problem with it. You in the club throwing up bottles and going with this nigga to buy clothes and shoes, and then nigga looked and turned, well, when the last time you bought your son some shoes, bro? When the last time you brought him a fit? That's a mean phone you bought. I bet your son probably hungry right now. He probably could have took that money too. No, man, you can't do that. Especially if your daddy ain't take care of you. How could you hang with niggas who do that? Oh, no. Oh, no. See, that's a part of being speaking, thinking, and understanding as a man. Because when he said he became a man, he put childish things away. So that means he would check that. Did Yahushua roll with anything that was contrary to what he was down with? Did he have a problem letting it be known that ain't cool? Was he going to run with niggas who was contrary to him? Absolutely not. He wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to do it. You think he was going to hang with a murderer right after he killed somebody? Think he was going to hang with adulterers? See, people look at it, well, he hung with adulterers. No, he preached the word to him. He let them people come to him so they could be healed. He wasn't hanging with him. He don't go against his own word. He said he don't stand in the way of sinners. So why you think he would do it? I'm not doing that. He don't respect the proud. You know how proud you got to be to not take care of your child and blame it on the woman? It's her fault I don't take care of my kids. Sure it is, sir. Sure. Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you got women don't let niggas get their kids. I have seen it. Just like I done seen dudes take care of kids that weren't theirs. And you know what I'm saying? And not weren't theirs as they didn't know it was, that they knew that wasn't their child. Like they were taking care of a child they thought was theirs. 5 years later, find out it ain't. That's probably the most horrible feeling in the world. Verse 13, Hebrews 5. For everyone that used milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongs to them that are of full age, who even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So when you become a man by putting these childish things away, it's because you have exercised and used the word. So now you can discern between, because guess what? Can any of these children discern between good and evil right now? They can't do it. They can't do it. They cannot do it. And guess what happened? Y'all should remember this when we dealt with it, right? Adam and Eve. What would they be considered to be, an adult, or would they be considered to be children? Why would they be considered to be children? They couldn't discern right from wrong. They had never had to use the word to discern right from wrong. So they were babes. And one thing about children is they are easily deceived. You know how we know this here? Because everybody in this room for some period of time believed Santa Claus was real. And you might have believed in the tooth fairy too. You were easily deceived. It might have took you might have figured it out after a while. I think I figured out Santa Claus wasn't real by the time I was 6. How long it took you, Stanley? Oh yeah, you're a Jehovah's Witness. You ain't believe in that. Yeah, they ain't teach you. You didn't get taught that. Praise the Lamb. We rolled by his Kingdom Hall yesterday, the other day. He said, I used to go to that one, right? I forgot Stanley was Jehovah's Witness. You imagine little Stanley out there, little short, little guy like this here. Let me tell you about Jehovah. Little watch track. How old you was, Darius, when you found out Santa Claus wasn't real?
I said somewhere in elementary school. My mama used to make the cookies, so
What about you, Lisa? When you found out? When I was 14?
yesterday.
Hey, Muffin. Well, how old you were? Seems like this here bastard. You ain't buy me nothing and you lied to me. How old you were, dude? Was any of y'all disappointed? How old you were, Shayla? Y'all were disappointed when you found out? Bro right here say he found out when he was a freshman in high school. I told you, I looked at my mama, I said, how he gonna get in here? We ain't got no chimney. She said, I'm gonna leave the front door open. You lying. But the kill for me was that Santa Claus and my mama's signature was the same. I'm like, Mama, why is Santa Claus like this here? Like, boy, leave me alone. I done caught you. And that doggone tooth fairy got a nigga like this here excited when they teeth fall out. Put some money up under the pillow. Nigga be hot when your people done forgot to put it up under there. Now you ain't got nothing but a bad tooth.
I remember one time my mom used to put them in the cabinet, and I went in the cabinet and got them, put them in the
They put the money under there?
She put the one that came out, not the rest of them. She took them all back.
What you say, D? What you say? What you say? Yeah, they be lying. But guess what? That how you, when you a child, you can't discern that they lying or that it's good or it's evil. You can't discern. You can't tell the difference. How would you know? You ain't but a child. Now, of course, you can see from 1 Kings chapter 2, the key component on being a man is keeping his commandments and believing and trusting in him. But we at, what, 40 minutes? Let's go ahead and get to the root of what we here for. I'll get the word man in a minute. But let's take ourselves to Revelation chapter 1. How many of y'all familiar with the term alpha male? Of course you are. What you think an alpha male is, Darius, or Stanley, or Will, or Monte? What y'all think that is? Strong man. What about you, Stanley?
Makes decision not off his emotions and doesn't care of the opinion of others.
Well, what about you, Monte?
I just feel like just a man that feel like they got
The man in charge. Right.
like put someone in place just as a man you shouldn't know. I say like as far as like being a husband and having a wife, I should have tell my wife to do something like that. She should have.
One of the brothers said it on here. That's the man that women want, which is the prevailing thought process with that. What about you, Will? Abbott.
Yeah, man, a man is not
Lizzie.
swayed by the other people. Like a man that got his own mission, not swayed by nobody else.
Indeed. So let's take ourselves to Revelation 1 and 4. Revelation 1 and 4. John, to the 7 houses which are in Asia, grace be unto you and shalom from him which is and which was and which is to come, and from the 7 ruachs which are before his throne, and from Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the faithful witness and the first begotten of the dead and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and have made us kings and priests under Elohim his Abba. To him be esteem and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him in all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Do y'all know what Alpha is in the Greek alphabet? It's the first letter in the Greek alphabet. So what is that going to translate over for us? Aleph. What are the meanings of Aleph? Strength, ox, and leader. So basically what we going, and also one other thing. Teaching, correct? So the key things what we look at with this first is that they're a teacher, they're a leader, and that they're strong. Because that's what he described himself as. Now, when we look at some of the attributes of an alpha, it says that they lead by example. So let's look at Hamashiach leading by example. Let's take ourselves first to Luke chapter 9. Now, of course, for the word man, you know, it's Ish and it's an Aleph, a Yod, and a Shan, and that's to be paired to the hand of strength. That's to be paired to a Mashiach. A man should be paired to the right hand of strength. But the key thing is we looking at the attributes of Yahusha. You have to show yourself a man. He said, when I was a child, I put childish things away and I became a man. So when he say he the Aleph and the Ta, or the Alpha and Omega, he's saying that he is the first. So when you're looking at the first, these are attributes that you would have to be able to emulate to say that you are a man according to this text. Yeah, for man, for ish, indeed, yes, sir. Be paired to the hand of strength, or the right hand of strength. I think I feel like that. Make that about Luke 9 and 18. It says, it came to pass as he was alone praying, his disciples were with him, and asked him, saying, whom shall people say that I am? They answered and said, John the Baptist. But some said Elijah. Others say that one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Peter answering said, the anointed one of Elohim. And he straitly charged them and commanded them to tell no man that thing, saying, the Son of Man suffered many things, must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders, the chief priests and scribes, and be slain, and be raised the third day. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake daily and follow me. Now let's look at something that we read in Judges last night. Come to Judges chapter 7. He told you to take up your stake and follow him. After that, we're going to go to 1 Peter chapter 2. This is Judges 7 and 16. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies and put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, look on me and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall you do. Now, he just told you to do what? Take up your stake and do what? Follow him. So when he's telling you to follow him, he's asking you to follow his example. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2. 2 and 21. And then we'll throw some things out there of what are some of the things that he did. Does it not say in 1 John chapter 2 that we ought to walk as he walked? So that means one of the aspects of someone who is going to be considered to be an Aleph man versus saying an Alpha man would be that he's going to lead people by the example of which he set by his conduct and behavior. So then you have to look, is your conduct and behavior consistent with the word of Elohim for you to be able to say, because you know that term gets thrown around a lot. I told you the first time I heard that term, I was 22 years old. I didn't know what that nigga was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I had never heard it before in my life and didn't really start hearing it again till the last couple years because it was grossly unfamiliar for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you want the people in your household to do certain things, you have to do them things yourself without even stating verbally that that's what you're doing. See, you have some people who are vocal leaders. You have some people who are silent leaders. Silent leaders choose to lead by the example that they set. You know what I'm saying? Because we were mentioning, you can't expect a woman to follow you and you don't lead by the example. You don't do the things that you want the household to do. Or you don't know where you're going. No one is going to listen to you. For what? But we live in a society now where most men feel like they're entitled to be followed because they have a penis or they pay bills. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't entitle you to that. Because anybody can pay a bill. You'd have to do that whether you had a woman or not. You're going to have to do that regardless. So that's not anything extra special. You have very, very, very weak men that pay bills every day and get trampled on by the woman that they with because she don't respect him. Paying bills is not just going to automatically gain a woman's respect. So that's not going to automatically gain a man's respect. You know how many dudes we knew in the street that had money that nobody respected? But people equate having money with respect or having material wealth with respect. That doesn't mean you're going to be respected. He say, for even hereunto were you called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who, when he was reviled not again, and when he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judges righteously. So we're not going to pull every precept for that, but we'll mention these things. Let's sit back and look at it, right? We know he didn't do no sin, right? So to consider because basically what we're trying to angle to is this. if he's the Alpha and Omega, the Aleph and the Tav, he's the leader, and he didn't do any sin, if you are in him and he is in you, then you would be considered to be a man in the eyesight of Elohim, because you would have put childish things away. So just close the door. Was somebody poking their head through the door? You know what I'm saying? You gotta, and I'm just being dead serious. Because did he not pray in John 17, I and them and them and me? So if he's the Alpha or the Aleph, or he's the leader, if you're in him and he's in you, then that means you would have all of these attributes. Because you would be in him, because you would be emulating him. You know what I'm saying? What did we just talk about? What that was? That was last night, wasn't it? What did Proverbs, who remembers what Proverbs 23:7 said, right? As forth is how an individual thinks. So as a man think in his heart, so is he. So if you think in your heart the word of the living Elohim, which is the son of Elohim, Yahushua HaMashiach, then guess what you would have by reason of execution, you would have to be an Aleph man. You would have to be, would you not? You would have to be. You would have to be chief. You would have to be the leader. Now, when you look at guile not being found in your mouth, let's take a pause for the call. Let's look over here to Proverbs chapter 8. So if you follow his example, did anybody find a Mashiach lying anywhere using any manner of deceit or trickery? That didn't occur. So we have to look at the example he set and follow that example, because that's one of the attributes also of what they just say an alpha man is an honest man. It actually said a relentlessly honest man. They had no room for lies or deceit. And what does our God say? It's one thing he don't do. It's impossible for him to do. Lie. Say it's impossible for him to do it. And not only that, what did he also say? That he frustrates the token of all liars. He say a liar will not tarry in his sight, meaning you won't live with me. And that he said that those that bear false witness or tell lies are what? An abomination. An abomination. And that's Proverbs 6 with the abomination. The tarry in his sight is Psalms 101. And the frustrating token of lies somewhere in Jeremiah. I want to say chapter 9, but don't quote me on that. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 4. He say, unto you, O men, I shall call, and my voice is open to the sons of men. Man, O you simple, understand wisdom, and you fools be of an understanding heart. Hear, I will speak excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things, for my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination of my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, and there is nothing froward or perverse in them. Now they tried to, you come back to the 1 Peter chapter 2, they tried to find a lot of perverse things in the Mashiach mouth, didn't they? Now you got to look at this here, right? You're supposed to follow his example. He led by example. Mashiach told you go and sin no more. Did he sin? So that's him being a leader by example. This is him being an Aleph man. He did not do this. You know what I'm saying? He sit back and you look at, hey, it tells you neither was guile found in his mouth. Can anybody find this man lying? You got dudes now to say he lying. He ain't came back yet. He was lying. So you say. You could have some people that feel like Isaiah was lying if they died before what he spoke came to pass. Now it says the next thing is that when he was reviled, he reviled not again. Do y'all know what it means to revile someone? Now, when you revile someone, that's to speak evil of them. When the Mashiach was on the tree, they reviled him by saying, if you be the son of God, come down off that tree and we'll believe you. You know, reviling somebody is to say they're stupid, you're ugly, you're a dummy. You know what I'm saying? Usually when somebody says things like that to you, what's your natural instinct to do? To retaliate. He didn't do that. So when he come back and he tell you not to do that, you know in Psalms 39 it says that, right? And Psalms 38. He says, I didn't speak because you did. When they were saying all that trash, what was a Mashiach sitting there doing? Quiet. Didn't say a word. So if you come around there and you teach somebody to do that, you teaching them to follow the example of which he set, because he led by example. Did he run around telling them don't defend yourself? He didn't run around telling them that. He just did it. He just did it. They threatened the man and all. How many times did they threaten to kill the man? Did he threaten him one? Matter of fact, let's put it this way. When his apostles wanted to call, he said, should we call for lightning down from heaven like Elijah? What did he tell them? That's in Luke chapter 9. What did he tell them? He told them, you don't know what manner of spirit you are. We didn't come to destroy men's lives. We came to save them. Do you know what I'm saying? How many times did the scribes and Pharisees threaten this man? He didn't say a word. He didn't threaten them 9 times. When Peter pulled the sword out and cut Buddy's ear off, how did the Mashiach respond to that? He did tell him that, but he told him something else. He definitely told him that. I could call for 12 legions of angels right now and take these niggas out. I could call for that right now. You got a whole bunch of men standing around you with swords and staves ready to kill you, and he ain't threatened none of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's the example he set. But what's other examples that this man set? To be a servant, to serve others. What's another example that he set? How did he serve others? When John 13, when he sat down with his apostles, what did he do? He washed their feet. What's another example of what he did? How many times did he show you he gave to the people? It's show compassion. How many times did he do that when the people were walking with him and they were hungry? What did he do? He fed them. He showed you the example of being merciful with that woman in John 8 when they wanted to stone her. What did he do? He told them, look here, man. He without sin cast the first stone. He was forgiven. Luke 7, when that woman came and washed his feet, what did he tell you? Your sins your faith has saved you. Your sins are forgiven. Same thing he did with the man with the palsy in Matthew 9. These are the examples of what he said, which is the same example which Yahuwah showed throughout the whole law. Let's look at the next thing. And we'll sit back and look at another trait it says is that an individual is confident. So now we're going to have to look at and see how Yahusha is confident. And I'll let you pick one, Darius. What can you think of in the text where Yahusha showed his confidence? I got one in mind. I just want to see what you're going to come with. And again, all this stuff going through this is how you got to show yourself to be a man. But we talking about a godly man. We ain't talking about no standard of what the world says. It's just like I say, a lot of the traits that they say an alpha male is the traits of the son of the living Elohim. Because the text can back a lot of them up. Well, let's look at it then. He say that's what Darius chose. Stanley, you want to choose one? Matthew 26. Okay, Aki say when he got off the stake and that he was confident his father would raise him from the dead. Absolutely. Okay, I got you. We take that to John 18 right after that. I know what you're talking about. Come on to Matthew chapter 26 and verse 42. Well, make it 39. Matthew 26 and 39. I get all three of them, which y'all stated. What Aki stated, that's 3 witnesses right there. We can keep it moving. He said, he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Abba, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he come unto the disciples and find them asleep, and said unto Peter, what, could you not watch me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. The Ruach indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And he went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Abba, if this cup may not pass from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came again and found him asleep, and the eyes were heavy. And he left him and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Now, even in the midst of his weakness, he prayed for that, knowing that basically what Akish just stated. The confidence that his father would resurrect him from the dead. We already read that point in Luke 9, but we're going to read it again, where he said that I got to suffer many things of the chief priests and scribes and be what? Raised again the third day. See, and that goes back to what we read in Romans 10 last night. You can't say that you're a man and you don't have confidence that your God can do what he say he going to do. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the most, if you was to ask most women, that's probably one of the most unattractive qualities that a man could possess is a lack of confidence. Because why would this woman have confidence in you if you don't have confidence in yourself? Why would she find that attractive? Let's go over here to John 18, where he mentioned. I'll get Keisha's on in a second. I got mine going, matter of fact, mine going to tie into what he said, what Akeisha said, and what my example was. But John 18. Oh, it's John 19. My apologies. John 19 and 5. Because like this here, right, we talked about that when we were dealing with believe all things and hope all things. You have to be confident in Yahuwah. You have, as it says, you have to have full confidence for a recompense of the reward. Then came Yahushua forth wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate said unto him, Behold the man. Now, when he said, Behold the man, what character is that? That's, hey, he's sitting here telling you that. What's going to go down? When the chief priest, therefore, and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said unto him, Take you him and crucify him, for I find no fault with him. So this could be a time he could lose confidence right here. He got a whole bunch of people screaming out to kill him. The Yahudim answered, We have a Torah. By our Torah he ought to die, because he made himself the son of Elohim. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall and said unto Yahushua, Whence art thou? So he asking him where he come from. And that's going to tie into another attribute. I gotta find where it's at, what that attribute is. I forgot what it was. Oh, that's not it. It'll come back to me in a moment, because I just don't recall at this particular time. So he asked him, you know, matter of fact, what it is, right? When you sit back and you look at a high value man or a leader in this aspect, they know where they're going and they know where they come from. An individual, that's why we were talking about that last week, like, who are you? Who were you? And who do you aspire to be? And let me ask you this question, because it's going to pertain to another one of these things. What is the root cause that would allow you to be able to know who you are, who you were, and who you desire to be? What do you think would be the main catalyst to be able for all those things to spring from? Huh? You say adversity? What about you? I'm going to ask everybody. Mm-hmm. How you grew up? What about what you say, D? Adversity? What about you, Lisa? What about you, Stanley, before you walk out the door?
Like Garrett said,
Adversity.
And what Jared said, what you
How you grew up?
growing up.
How you humble yourself? Okay. Well, I had to do that while how you get it turned. Huh? Say what? Adversity? What do you say, Lil Muffin? Experience? What you say, Dwight? What is the catalyst? Like we dealt with this here last week, like who you were, who you are, and who you aspire to be. So what would be the catalyst for you to know who you are, or who you were, or who you desire to be? What you think is the main catalyst for that? Callie, you say faith, foot. What's the main catalyst for you to know who you are, who you were, and who you desire to be?
I think life experience.
Life experience. What about you, Monte? What about you, Nisha? What about you, Will? I give you that. You know what the catalyst for who you are come from? Your values. That's what really is going to define who you are. You know what I'm saying? Your values define who you are. Period. You know what I'm saying? Your values will define who you want to be, and your values define who you were at that particular time. And the values are the things that you live by, the things that you stand for, your code and your honor. See, the adversity is what's going to test those values. You know what I'm saying? Your life experience is what can change your values. The more things you experience, your values may evolve over that period of time. You know what I'm saying? But really who you are is rooted and based in your values. And you know, some of the definition of values is practicality, usefulness, sensibility. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have any values, that's why people say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Because if you don't know what you stand for or what you believe in, then you can have no idea to know who you are. That's why a lot of people float around aimlessly in this world, is because they have no values. And as he put it, if you know Elohim, then you're going to have his values. And then you're able to know who you are in him. Therefore, you would be able to know who you are. But if you don't know him, you can never know who you are. At least not in him anyway. Nevertheless, 19 and 10. John 19 and 10. Okay, facing a challenge in life such as the death of a dead one. Honesty. Absolutely, I have to catch this up. Oh, that's a good one there, Brother Brown. Brother Brown used that confidence of when Yahusha resisted Satan for them 40 days and 40 nights after he fasted. That's definitely confidence in Elohim, because he definitely could have took what he offered. I got to catch my Mr. Things right now. Your perception? Okay. That nigga say Tarzan daddy was an alpha male. He was, though.
Who?
Tarzan.
Tarzan?
He was, though. His daddy.
Which one, the monkey or the deer?
I don't know. I ain't seen Tarzan in years. 19 to 10, right? Then saith Pilate unto him, speak thou not unto me. Know thou that I have power to crucify you and have power to release you? Yahusha answered, thou could have no power at all against me except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto you have the greater sin. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him. You damn right you're going to release somebody say something like that to you. You the ruler of a province. You say, don't you know, nigga, I can kill you? And he respond to you with that? Well, you let that nigga go. Ain't no problem with him. That's a real nigga, right? They ain't fooling with him. Do you know what I'm saying? Because how many people you think would respond back in that fashion? This is why he told you not to take no thought for your life. This is why he told you don't fear him who could kill the body, and that's all they could do. That's why he told you don't meditate on what you're going to say, because the Ruach HaKodesh in that very hour will give you what you ought to say, because that means you got confidence in your who. I'm not scared of your jail. I'm not scared of your guillotine. I'm not scared of your guns. I'm not scared of your knives, because you're going to look at them. Clearly, my father delivered me into your hands. Do with me as you will. That's what Jeremiah told them people. He said, you could kill me, and surely you'll have innocent blood on your hands. Do it with what you see, weak nigga. I don't see that. I'm not scared of that. That's confidence. And that confidence is going to be based in what? Your values, because your value is love Yahuwah with all your heart, strength, mind, and soul. Therefore, you would be built upon a solid foundation which could not be shaken, like Mount Zion. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily they use jail and death to rule people. People use fear to rule people. People who are fearful can be easily manipulated and moved in the direction that you want them to move based off of their fear. This is why Paul wrote to Timothy that Elohim has not given us the ruach of fear, and why the Apostle John told us that fear brings torment, because perfect love does what? And perfect love would be what? Confidence. And that confidence would be rooted in what? Your values. And your value is what would make you an Aleph man or Aleph woman, because there is a such thing as an alpha female. Are y'all aware of that? Yes, there is such thing as an alpha female, and truth be told, before we get out of here, you'll see that the attributes of an alpha female pretty much line up with a virtuous woman. And the word for virtuous in Hebrew is kayil in that particular verse, and that means strong. You know what I'm saying? And most men say that they don't really want a strong woman. It's not that you don't want a strong woman. Most men don't want a woman who feel like she don't need a man, a masculine woman. Don't no man want a masculine woman. A woman who thinks she a man, that's highly unattractive. Because at that point, I might as well lay in the bed with a man. If I want to be with a woman who act like a man, you might as well, because in theory, that's what you're doing. She may have a lady parts, but she's a man. She's acting like a man. She talking like a man. Who want to be with a woman who act like his homeboy? Like, who really want that? Don't worry about it, nigga. I'll get over here and fix the transmission. You know what I'm saying?
Change my home, or I don't need no man.
Straight up, go on and change it, baby, because shoot, I don't know how to do it. I'm taking it to Jiffy Lube. So I got how much? I got 50 cash. I bring the oil. So live. I compensate you for it. See, I ain't got no shit. I don't know how to change no oil, and I ain't finna act like I do. I'm gonna take it to Jiffy Lube. I'm gonna take it to the professionals. But what man really want that? Like a woman, y'all know women who act like men. They whole spirit and mindset is masculine. Don't no man want that. And guess what? And masculine women always had that one statement that I can't find. When you hear a woman tell me, I need a man who can deal with me. Stop acting like a man. Maybe you'll find one. How many times y'all done heard a woman say that I need a man who can deal with me, who can handle me? No, stop acting like a man, and he'll be able to handle you and deal with you.
Most women, I even say that. It's crazy.
It's crazy because you're acting like a man. Yeah, you know, them were little girls, though. Them was little girls. I don't think none of them girls in that video was over 21. They wasn't over 21. It's just sad. Now, what's sad is it's women twice their age that think like that. Straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? Stupid. That's what a lot of men look at. A lot of men don't care. I got all these degrees. I got this job. But you stupid, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do, like, dudes don't care nothing about all that. He's not impressed by that because you got all these degrees and you got this corporate job, but you can't think your way out of a paper bag. You seen that girl on that video talking about, oh, I'm a radiologist in the Army. Talking like that. And you think somebody want to be with you? City girls and flat, like, come on, baby. You don't have a bad, you got a job that when you leave the Army, you can be played quite handsomely. Ain't nobody finna marry you. He said, why do you think women like hood niggas? And the most of them talking about they got money. Shoot, there's a lot of niggas in the hood, bro. Someone talking about it's the adventure. I'm gonna feel protected. You never know what's gonna happen. Well, baby, you need to go to Wild Adventure if you want an adventure. All right, this here. And guess what she said? One of them, he said, they be breaking your heart. She said, no. She said, not for real. They break my heart every time. And that's an example of why in our culture, the women didn't get to choose their mate. They were chosen for you before you even had your first period. You know what I'm saying? Because they sit back and look at it. A lot of women they're very poor at selecting men. Very poor. Huh? Niall already chose you. I don't know what's going on over there. Oh, you say she already chose her. You done sold her to Hezekiah already? That nigga see what she say, where that dowry at? So you gonna give her a couple goats? Done sold the baby already. God! Ain't even talk with the parents. That nigga hard. You probably looking out who you can sell that boy in your belly to already. So, no, he come from a good stock. We gonna send him over there. There's a good stock of girls. Over there, they already think about it. You know, like shoot. Oh, shoot. Lee got one in the cut too. And Mordecai. Mordecai said, y'all better not sleep on him now. Mordecai looked like he ready because he already looked like a grown man. Come on, y'all. Where we at, though? But that's cool. What's the other thing? John 11, while we're going. Yeah, I'm finna work that in for his right now. John 11. We're going to pick this up at about verse 21. John 11, 21. Yeah, I know I ain't going to get all this here today. It's a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, before I read this John 11, 21, I'm going to read you what some of the attributes are. It said, lead by example. They're confident. They know how to handle conflict. They're masculine. They have charisma. They also put style on there, but charisma. Strong. They take risks. They're independent. They are competent. And they're dominant. It also says that they're assertive, that they're protective, that they're courageous, that they know how to be cooperative, that they're self-sacrificing, that they're sensitive, that they have ambition, that they know how to entertain, that they are self-depreciating, meaning they can laugh at themselves, that they're humble, that they're learned or educated, that they have a purpose, that they work hard, that they know who they are, that they know how to treat a woman, that they're not bullies, that they're a man of value, that they're generous, that they're stubborn. Being in that aspect, it defined it as seeing things all the way to the end. You know what I'm saying? Not starting and stopping, so to speak. They have no fear of failure. They know how to deal with problems. They're disciplined. They inspire other people. They're marriage material. They're honest. They're non-reactive, and they have no need of validation. Now, I described a woman in this aspect as she does not give up easily, that she'll make the first move in certain areas, that she is loyal, that she has purpose, that she's not afraid to be alone, that she loves intensely, that she has ambition, that she can bring people together. She stands up for what she believes in. She is resilient, and she respects herself and has integrity. And all of these things, when you look at it, these are things that the book bears witness to that an individual should be. Because from what I done seen in popular media, they try to make somebody who share these characteristics, whether male or female, as if they're like, they kind of say, oh, that's a toxic mentality. That's why dudes feel like it's a war on masculinity. There's nothing unclean or bad about any of those attributes anywhere around the board. But the reason why people attack them, because if you're not those things, you'll be offended. People are offended by confident people. People are offended by people who have ambition. People are offended by people who have integrity. That's why they were offended in the Messiah. He was all these things, and they were offended in him. Were they not? Abigail, that's just not a proper way to behave. You think somebody, yeah, that's right, Lizzie, laugh at her. Laugh at her. Laugh at her. She just took that jerky and just threw it across the floor like somebody cared. Don't comfort her. Leave her there to let her cry. Come here, Lizzie. How are you? Would you like to stay here? How you been? Would you like to get that jerky off the floor and take it to your mommy? Go get the jerky off the floor and take it to your mommy. So, Luke 11 and 21. Then said Martha unto Yahushua, Lord, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of Elohim, Elohim will give it to thee. Yahushua said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Yahushua said unto her, I'm the resurrection and the life. He that believe in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Whosoever live and believe in me shall never die. Believe thou this. She saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the anointed one, the son of Elohim, which should come into the world. And that one there, and we're going to tie it to what Aki stated, that one there is his confidence not only in his Father that he's going to resurrect, give him the ability to resurrect Lazarus from the dead, which we're about to read, but Martha's confidence in him that he would be able to do it. Let's swing over here a little bit further down in John chapter 11. I wanted verse 41. It says, then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Yahushua lifted up his eyes and said, Abba, I thank thee that thou heard me. And I knew that thou hear me always, because of the people which stand by said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. Now this one here, he's showing his confidence in his Father, saying, I'm going to say this out loud so that these people can have confidence in me and therefore have confidence in you by seeing Lazarus rose from the dead. Now, like what Aki stated was the confidence that Yahushua had that his Father would raise him from the dead. What did he tell Peter when Peter told him, he told Peter beforehand that he would die and resurrect? What did Peter say? No, that's not going to happen to you. And what did Yahushua do? He rebuked him because he wasn't never going to waver in his purpose. He knew his purpose was for one particular thing, and that was to die and be resurrected from the dead. And there was not a single individual that was going to deter him from that purpose. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people get thrown off. See, like when he said the part here about being stubborn and what you're going to do, that means that I'm going to accomplish this task and absolutely nothing is going to deter me from doing that. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of us get put off track that we start stuff, don't finish it, because you let things deter you from accomplishing that. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be stubborn with your goals and say, hey, this is what I'm finna do. And not a force on this earth gonna stop me, lest it be against Yahuwah's will, and that's it. Because if he wasn't stubborn about what he was gonna do, then he would have told Peter, you right, Peter. I surely shall not die. And when they came and snatched him, he would have called for them 12 legions of angels. When they came and asked him to get off the tree, guess what he would have did? Got off. Y'all said I might as well get off. If I get off, I show you I'm the Son of God. If he wasn't stubborn about what he was finna do, when Satan said turn these stones into bread, he would have did it. When he would have told it, go ahead.
What did that mean again when he asked him to do that? You went over it a long time ago.
Basically, what he was asking to do was bring the new covenant into effect before it was time. Because remember, the first covenant was written on stone. And the second covenant, he said the life that the bread that he would give would be his flesh. And now it's written on fleshly tables of the heart. So he was asking him to fulfill the work before it was time. That's it. He was asking him to fulfill the work. Yeah, to die at that moment, because he would have had to die to turn the stone into bread. So he was asking him to fulfill the word before it was time. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was tempting him for. Because remember, he said, man don't live off bread alone, but every word that proceed out the mouth of Elohim do man live. And then he sent his son to be living bread, that if an individual ate of it, that they would live. So turn that, make the covenant new for its time for me, man. He told him, no. I ain't here for that. You know what I'm saying? That's being stubborn about about my purpose. Nobody's taking me off my purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen that in my time period of living, whether it be male or female. You're saying a lot of females do it. They like to try to get a man off his purpose. Who in the book got a man off his purpose? Abigail didn't get David off his purpose. But that's different because he was wrong. David was wrong. Lady with Samson got him off his purpose because she kept saying, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. And if he would have been stubborn about what it was that he was sanctified to do, he would have ignored her and told her to sit down somewhere and be quiet. He let that woman convince him to go off outside of what he was supposed to be doing. He knew he wasn't supposed to cut his hair. He told her that too, didn't he? If you cut my hair, I lose all my strength. When you supposed to told that woman, don't worry about my secret of my strength. Don't worry about that. That's none of your concern. But I told you before, man, most of the time, dudes will compromise things because they don't want to displease a woman, because they don't want to lose the opportunity to have sex with her. I mean, you got to tell me what type of women you talking about, because if a godly woman choosing evil men or gangbangers, I don't think she's a godly woman. You can't expect a sinner to choose a godly man. They contrary. What you say? The brother just asked this here. Maybe y'all can answer his question. Yeah, the system is pushing men to be women and women to be men. This brother says he wants to know, why don't women choose men that believe in the word, and why do they choose evil men or gangbangers? Possibly. Do y'all women have any answer for his query? He said he wants to know why women don't choose godly men, basically, and why they choose sinners. Huh? You didn't say that loud. I just saw your lips move. I didn't hear any words come out. You're appalled? Why are you appalled? I guess the women don't have any, you've been single for 22 years. Well, how old are you? Because if you're only 22, shoot, that ain't that long. You ought to be single, shoot. You need to be more focused. Oh, you 20, man, you need to be focused on yourself. Don't be worried about no woman. You ain't but 23 years old. Yeah, focus on yourself. But do y'all women have any answer for that? Let's not even say a godly man. Let's just put it this here. Because a lot of dudes always ask, that's why that dude was walking around the land and asking them girls why they choose hood niggas. You know, a lot of dudes be wanting to know why women choose a low value or low grade of man versus a higher grade or higher value of man. I'm not a woman, so I can't answer that question. I can give my opinion. That was your first real boyfriend? Yeah. They ain't got no answer for it, man. They either don't want to answer or they just ignore me.
Maybe you should ask a woman that's in our relationship. Maybe they have answers.
Well, he young, so I guess he's trying to figure it out. But I know he said he definitely would like to hear y'all answers for that. They don't have one for you. They're not too far away from age and from you, for that matter. Now Trina said that he needs to be patient with Yah, be patient towards Yah, and Yah will and send you one. You first have to be ready for one, because oh boy, you don't need to be contemplating suicide over that. Now that's going a little too far. That's going a little too far. That's why you ain't got no woman right there. Yeah, you got to worry about yourself. That's why you ain't got no, oh, he said when he was younger. Yes, but see that right there, a woman to pick. Yeah. See right there, I'm gonna tell you right there, shoot. That's why you can't get no woman, cause ain't no woman gonna want to fool with that. They can feel that vibe that you not even that confident in yourself, and that they gonna feel that. They not gonna fool with you. They're not gonna fool with you. Now Trina say you got to make sure you're ready for one, cause he say a godly woman is a handful. Do any of y'all agree with that? Y'all agree with that? You a handful, little muffin? Yeah, that's what Trina said. Yeah, you got to make sure, you got to have yourself prepared, man. You got to have yourself prepared to be in a godly relationship. I mean, it's not any different than a world relationship other than the standard. That standard is higher. It's much, much higher. What are we was on right at the time? Well, since we to pause in it, let's take ourselves over here to Proverbs 31, man. We get the girls out of the way, get the ladies out of the way, I should say. We get the ladies out of the way. And we'll come back to the men. We'll get the ladies out of the way. I've seen women arguing about that. Every woman can't be a Proverbs 31 woman. And I'm like, shoot. Hey, you don't want to be a strong woman? That's your prerogative. Proverbs 31 and 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies? So what does that mean to you, Stanley, when you hear that? Her price is far above rubies. What did you take from that when you said that who can find a virtuous woman? It said her price is far above rubies. This is a priceless individual. Rare jewel indeed. Ain't gonna find too many of them. It says the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, that he have no need of spoil. So you know what that one is out of those attributes of an alpha female? That would be a woman who has integrity. A woman who respects herself. He never has to worry about this woman doing anything to him. So in an extent, this is a strong woman. Because again, a virtuous woman is Ka'il. That is a strong woman. It says she would do him good and not evil all the days of her life. It says she seek wool and flax and work willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She bring her food from afar. She arise also while it is yet night and give meat to her household and portion to her maidens. So you know what that one is? What attribute you think that is right there, Alicia? Huh? She got who?
Many children.
Many traits. Not only that, she has ambition. She has ambition. She beat you to the point. Sugar baby, what you doing? What you doing? I didn't read the next one. It said, because she said she considered a field and buy it, and the fruit of her hand she plant a vineyard. That's in her ambition, right? Says she gird her loins with strength and strengthening all. Look what it says she do with her loins. She does what with her loins? Say she girds them with strength, right? So when you look at that girding of the loins, what is that again? That's the power of the fruit of the highest. This woman is following the way of discipline to separate her. This is what makes her a rare breed. This is what makes her an olive woman, or a strong woman, a virtuous woman, a Kayil woman. This is a strong woman according to the text. Now look at the next thing it says. It says that she lay her hands to the spindle, lay her hands to the distaff. Her hands hold the distaff. She stretched out her hand to the poor, and she reached forth her hands to the needy. Which one do you think that would be? What you think that is? It says she stretched forth her hands to the poor, Alicia, and her hands to the needy. What you think that could be? She would be willing to help, which means that she would have a desire to be merciful and compassionate, or to bring people together. Anybody who's godly, period, is going to seek to bring people together and not to separate. When you see people always constantly trying to separate people, that's usually the devil, because the devil seeks to separate. He seeks to break things up. He doesn't seek to bring things together. She says she is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. That would be resiliency. You know, because that's what a strong person is going to be. They're going to be resilient. Y'all do know the definition of resilient, don't you? You know the definition of resilient? Who knows the definition of resilient? What's the definition of resilience? Indeed, a person who has the ability to endure or to persevere and overcome adversity. I just expounded on what you said. I just expounded on what you said. I just added on. Dude, you put the bread, I just gave the bologna. I don't eat bologna no more, but nevertheless. Who like bologna? You like bologna?
You know what? I saw something in the elevator. I was like, oh, I can be.
She said, I remember. That's the bologna gonna give you cancer. That red strip. No, you can get beef bologna. And you can get turkey bologna. We should have told her that. Now she's gonna be like, Brandon, beef bacon. You know that beef bacon? I got beef bacon. That nigga was happy about that bacon. Let's look at the next thing it said, right? She make herself coverings of tapestry. Oh, this other thing I missed. It says she stands up for what she believes in. You know what I'm saying? And last year when we were looking at all those women, those were women that stood up for what they believed in. And I'm gonna tell you something. A weak man would be offended by that. A woman who's resilient or stands up for what she believes in, that offends a weak man. He's not gonna want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? It says her husband is known in the gates where she sit, when he sit among the elders of the land. She make fine linen and sell it and deliver girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in the time to come. So this woman is covered in strength and honor. This is what she dressed with. So if she's covered with strength and honor, she's covered by the Savior. She wearing Yahushua HaMashiach. This is a woman worthy of respect and honor. See, a lot of dudes don't really want no woman of God. This is the same way he talking about, why do women don't pick a man of God? Because a lot of people don't want that, period. Because that's a different standard. It's a different standard. People don't want to hold that standard. It says she opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. She looked well to the ways of her household, and eat not the bread of idleness. So if it says she looked way to the ways of her household, and she don't eat the bread of idleness, what type of woman is this? Is it telling you that she is not? What'd you say? If she doesn't eat the bread of idleness, what type of woman is she not? She's not lazy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's telling you. She's looking well to the way of her household. She's not, because you know what the worldly people say, that an idle mind is what? Cause guess what? Cause if you ain't doing nothing, if you ain't on your purpose, then you got a lot of time to be thinking about stuff you ain't got no business doing, and then you end up going to do it. Cause your mind ain't occupied. And you ought to be about your father's business, so your mind should always be occupied with your father's business. He said her children rise up and call her blessed. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excel them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. But a woman that fear Yahuwah, she shall be praised. See, that's the main thing that people have to realize, right? People, see, like this here, right? He told you that in the book of Ezekiel. They give gifts to all whores. See, a lot of women feel like if somebody buy you something or do this for you, that means that you're a high-value woman. That'll make you a high-value woman because people do that for you. Because what did he tell you? Favor is deceitful. So people can do that type of... What did the law tell you about taking gifts? What did he say gifts do? Blind the eyes of the wise. And how many women done been deceived by gifts? Any of y'all ever been deceived by a man buying you stuff? Because he's saying favor is deceitful. Favor is somebody showing kindness or doing things for you, but they really have an ulterior motive. It's a lot of women who've been deceived by gifts. Nigga buying you, man, nigga buy you anything if he get your draws. Y'all know full well, you know how they be talking about how women know they go in the club and get drinks because nigga gonna buy him a drink. Or he be like, girl, he nice, he did this for me. That nigga doing that because he just wants some sex. Because the minute you tell him you ain't gonna give him no sex, then he stop doing it. Or he leave you alone. So he's trying to let you know that favor is deceitful and beauty is worthless. But if you fear Yah, that's what's going to get you praised. And a woman who's strong is not going to give up in her service to Yah. She's not going to wait for somebody to tell her to do something. She's going to do it on her own accord. She's going to be loyal. She's going to have a purpose. She's not going to be afraid to be alone. An example of that is the widow woman in the book of Luke, who when her husband died, she didn't remarry. She was not afraid to be alone. That didn't affect her. That didn't bother her because she was focused on what her purpose was, which was to wait on the coming Son of God and to proclaim him. Matter of fact, let's take a look at that. Luke chapter 2. I just ain't going to tell you about it. I'll just let you look at it. Then we got to switch back over. Where is it at? Where is it at? Luke chapter 2, verse 36. It said, and there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age, and she lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served Elohim with fasting and prayers night and day. Let me ask y'all a question. How long is 84 years? Huh? 84 years. That's not 44. That's not 400. She definitely not 400 years old. No, 80. A score is 20. She was a widow for 84 years. She lived without a man for 84 years. She wasn't afraid to be alone. She was more concerned with, my husband done passed. I'm not looking for another husband. I'm finna serve Yah day and night in this temple. You know what type of strength that is to do that? Well, if them women, Naomi, indeed. Naomi definitely was. He said a lot of women don't like to talk about when he liked to talk about the scripture. Shoot, a lot of men don't want to hear. Shoot, if you're another man, there's a lot of people don't want to hear the word, period. But 9 times out of 10, you're trying to impress yourself upon people who don't believe in Yah. But that's a long, how many of y'all, if your husband died, you would feel like you could be alone for 84 years, not even think about another man? I ain't mad at you, shoot. Ain't nobody say just because your husband died, you like to say, well, might as well pack go and get me another one. But not only not be without a man for 84 years, but to continuously dedicate yourself to the service of Yah from that point forward. That's the key point of what we're looking at. The key point of what we're looking at, not only did she go without a man for 84 years, but she focused them 84 years on serving Yah exclusively. You ain't got what? I ain't hear what you say. What'd you say?
I mean, it wouldn't be helpful if it would be helpful. You know, like afterwards.
That's pretty harsh.
Okay, let's go ahead.
I get what you're saying. I just busting your ball. Not that it's like, yeah, I want him to die or nothing. You know, I ain't trying to speed it up, but you know, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. I think that's hard. But 84 years is a long time to be alive.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Well, it said she was of great age, so if she lived without her husband for 84 years, he probably died when she was probably in her 20s. No, it's not bad to be single. I mean, I'll read that for you. No, it ain't bad to be single in the word. I mean, it is what it is. If you're single, you're single. But you're a young man. You need to focus on getting yourself right as a man. Don't worry about no woman. That woman going to... Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, because like this here, where you at right now, you so focused on get you a woman, you going to get you a woman you wish you could hang from the top of the house.
Yeah, that's good.
What's that?
You know, your 401k built up to 6.
I ain't never 401k built up. You better get your mind built up. Oh, I know he tell you that in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. He said, if you unmarried, all you got to worry about is pleasing the Lord. But when you are married, all you got to please your spouse. You know what I'm saying? He tell you that's what Paul wrote. Like, that's real talk though. If you not married, all you got to focus on is the Lord. Oh, he said he medically retired from the army. Oh, that nigga get an army check. He said his pocket straight. Nigga, you got to worry about that. He said Uncle Sam paying him, nigga. Not right now, but maybe later. But no, like Lil Muffin said, like I said, because see, you know, it says that the man is what? The head of the house. So he would be the olive of the house, or the leader of the house, the strength of the house. You want to make sure that you can be able to guide that house in a godly fashion first. Not even necessarily about no money. Because like this here, right? You hear people say being a man of value. So whenever I ask you, like when you're looking at something that's of value, then that's something that the person is bringing that can't be replaced. That's something that they're adding something to you that you did not previously have. And it's not emotional feelings or things that make you feel good. It's attributes that they can bring that nobody else has brought to you that you don't possess. You know what I'm saying? See, they tell you this in business. They tell you to worry about adding value. See, don't worry about the service. Don't worry about the product. Worry about what value that you add to your customer, to your client. When we went to that Jax Bridges thing, they had us fill out a value proposition. Basically, what is the pain point of your customer and how can you help to alleviate it? That's why when you look at the text and it say that a woman is supposed to be what? A help meet, an aid, a help, and a relief. So there's some value that she's supposed to add. The man's supposed to add value. When we look at Yahusha, what is the value that he added? Because that's one of the attributes of an alpha male, is he's a man of value. So what value did Yahusha add? But see, I mean, that's being kind of general. Like, what value did he add? To people, to man, period. Like, what value did he add?
Second chance.
But see, not just a second chance, like traits, like what did he add? Because when you look at value, you're looking at something that this person brought to alleviate a pain that you possess. Accountability is the value that he added. Indeed. What'd you say? He added confidence. He added integrity to you. He added mercy to you. He added compassion to you. He added understanding to you. He added wisdom to you. So when you see these things that he add to you, and that's just to name a few, that can't be replaced, why are you looking for another God? That's why I asked y'all that about what value did your spouse add? Because if they bring something to you that you can't replace or find somewhere else, if these are the things that you find valuable. And you can only know a person of value is if you're a person of value. Meaning you have to value yourself. And if you value yourself, it means you're valuing yourself on the things that your personal values. Like that's what the world get messed up at. Or kind of what he alluded to. You say you have these values or these things you believe in, right? that make up who you are, that you say you follow, that make you valuable, and then choose people that don't possess these values. How does that work? I seen a sister say this. She a Muslim though, but she ain't told no lie. She was telling young men to stop marrying people that you've only known for a short period of time. And she was saying you need to find out what you need, what you desire, and what you deserve. And most people overlook the last component of what she said, male and female. And I would say more than likely more women than men. They fail to identify what it is that they deserve. So they settle for less than what they deserve. And that's where that standard coming at, or where we look at, because yeah, this is going to definitely carry over to the next week. When you look at one of these things where he said this is a person who knows how to treat a lady, can we not look at Yahusha and he would show you, because we done dealt with it before, that he knows how to treat his wife? What do we look at that relates to that, right? He say, husbands, do what? According to what? Knowledge. So that means he's teaching you how to dwell with it, to know how to treat a woman, right or wrong. When he say, husband, love your wives as you love, he say, husband, love your wives as a Mashiach loved the body and did what? And then what else did he say for you to do? He said that too, but he told you to nourish it, cherish it, because no man did what? Yet ever hated his own flesh. So if you know how to treat your wife, guess what that means? You know what else you know how to do? You know how to treat yourself. But does that make sense? How else you gonna know how to treat somebody else if you don't know how to treat yourself? How can you love somebody else if you don't know how to love yourself? How can you add value to somebody else if you don't value yourself? How are you going to be able to do that? How are you going to be able to execute that? That's going to be impossible. And that's kind of like what he been referencing. No, he talking about, that's something different. That's off track. We ain't on that right now. That's off track. Like, you got to think about that, right? Because I say, man, we probably spend on it on a while, because we can go through every one of the attributes of where he's telling you to show yourself a man and see this in the text. How many of y'all believe a godly woman is a woman of high value? How many of y'all believe a godly man is a man of high value? Now why would you believe that this man and this woman would be of high value? What would make them high value? Huh? I'm asking, like, what if you believe that a man of God and a woman of God are of high value, then what would make them be of high value? Just period. Like, what would make them this necessarily got to be a romantic relationship. What makes that man or woman of God a high value? What about them would cause it? Hey, children, sit it down. Cancel that show. It's going to went off the air. The foundation. The standard they hold. Well, I agree with both of those. Anybody else? How do you feel about themselves? Anybody else got anything they'd like to add to that? You know the thing that makes them be of high value? Huh? That's what I'm looking for. All those things are correct. But what makes them of high value is that Yahusha is in them and they're in Yahusha. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. That's what makes them valuable. Because if they're valuable, then guess what they're going to bring to you? Joy, peace, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, self-control. You're going to bring the attributes of your God if you say those things are valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? If you see this individual has the things that I hold of value, and then I say I don't want that, that means that you didn't want that from your God to begin with. That means you don't find your God to be valuable. You see what I'm saying? You see how this quarter, you wouldn't find him valuable because you wouldn't find a person who he is in valuable. See, now, like what he talking about, he hasn't got to that point where Yahusha is in him. So you got to focus on getting him in you so someone can see your value. See, one thing about it, when you're valuable, you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. It'll be manifest and seen. You don't have to do it. When you find yourself proving your worth to another individual, you either in a situation you don't need to be in, or they stupid, or you not, I mean, the individual who can't see your worth, or you not as worthy or valuable as you think you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of women out here think they valuable. You got a lot of men out here think they valuable, and you're not as valuable as you think you are. You know it. You know you got some homeboys walk around like they doo-doo don't stink. And you be like, bro, you ain't really that nice. You know that, right? You're really doing the bare minimum, and you think you holding it down. No. That's not how that works. The main thing that everybody should be striving to do is to be a man or woman of value, meaning to be a man or woman of God. Be a man or woman of Elohim, a man or woman of you. You know how valuable that, hey, that's too much noise. It's too much noise. It's too much noise. Do you know how valuable, even though this woman chose not to marry, you know how valuable that woman had to be a widow for 84 years? Do you know what type of value that type of woman could add? Let's finish what it say about it, though. I'm going to read verse 36 again. He's saying there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age, and she lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served Elohim with fastings and prayers night and day. And she came in that instant and gave thanks likewise unto Yahuwah, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. That was in Luke chapter 2. But look at the key thing of what this, what the main key thing that make her valuable, and that's just described in this text that you can see. What's the two things that's in this text that makes her valuable? Because, of course, we can't see all things because it didn't mention. But it mentioned two things. You got an idea?
I was thinking about loyalty and servitude.
That's one of that prayer and that fasting, which is in conjunction with her service. But you know how valuable that is to have a woman who, because if you constantly praying, what that mean you constantly doing? You seeking his face. Now, what man would not want a woman? Clearly, this is a woman who fear Yah. That's why she ought to be praised. That's why this woman in this book, by name, you know what I'm talking about? Telling you who she is. When you know who you are in Yahuwah, then you can know who you are as an individual. And then you can know how valuable you are, because you can identify your traits as it relates to him. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be able to look at a person of God and be like, I don't see no value in them. Because then clearly you don't see no value in Yahuwah. Because what did we just say? He said, what you see me do, he said in Judges, you need to do, right? He said Hamashiach came and given us an example. Because I mentioned this last week, right? Everybody screams, I want a godly man, I want a godly woman, this, that, there, and the third. Then you see the example of it, and that don't do nothing for you. Because it's too many. I ain't going to talk about the women. Because I see the women on Facebook who in the word complain about it all the time. About how these niggas say they righteous, and they be dealing with half-naked women, picking worldly women. You know what I'm saying? And that because it's mainly the women in the Hebrew group that I see that complain about they ain't got no husband. Why they can't pick no husband? They picking worldly women. They say they want a modest woman. They say they want this, but they going after these half-naked women. And they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming from because them niggas don't really want Yah. And I don't know none of these women, so I don't know if they fully immersed in the word or not. But for the sake of the conversation, let's say they are. And you see this woman godly, and you chose something different. You didn't want Yah. You just wanted a young hooker and then try to bring her in and try to dress her up like she on the word. But that ain't really what you wanted. Because there's a lot of niggas that do it. Go in the world, go grab them one. Say this a virtuous woman. See, she got on head wraps and fringes. Then the next thing you know, she don't listen. She don't obey the word. See these Hebrew women, they don't listen. They don't listen. Nah, don't try to put that on them women. That ain't what you wanted, my nigga. Just say that. Like, I don't see how dudes in the word and you even that butt naked women even appeal to you. Like, we know men are visual creatures. You like a nice looking woman. But if you know this woman is not exemplary of what it is you say you believe in, how would she interest you? Like, how would that stoke your interest? Wouldn't stoke mine. Just a half naked hoe. Don't do nothing for me. Because guess what? Your titties going to sag one day. You're going to get stretch marks. You're going to get fat. I need a little bit more than that. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? What's one thing a godly woman is going to do? The same thing that a godly man is going to do. They're going to challenge you and hold you accountable. I don't want nobody who can't challenge me and tell me about myself when I need to be told. Or tell me, hey, boy, you need to tighten up. Like, a sinner woman ain't going to do nothing but turn her head. A sinner man ain't going to do nothing but turn his head. Ain't a big deal. God will forgive you. I don't want nothing to do with nothing like that. That don't float my boat. Let me get that Matthew 19 for this young man. He talking about it ain't wrong. Is it wrong to be single? It ain't wrong to be single. Shoot, some people may not get married. Yeah, it's all the same. Because when we say godly, we talking about basically exemplifying the attributes of Yahuwah. Like literally manifesting that when an individual see you, they see Yah. Matthew 19 and 10. Matthew 19 and 10. His disciples say unto him, in the case of the man, if the case of the man be so with his wife, is it not good to marry? Now they're asking this question based off of if you get divorced, that you can't remarry while your spouse is alive. That's why they asking. They say, if this the case with a man, should he not get married? Hamashiach said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men. And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of Shamahim's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. So what does that mean, everybody? What does that mean, Lisha? What does that mean, Darius? What does that mean, Stanley? What did he just say?
Basically, people living this earth, their body is made to serve, they took to serve you, and they have to be made.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. What did he just say? Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, sugar baby.
I mean, basically saying, if you made to be alone for the purpose of his purpose, and that's what you made.
All right. Anybody else got an idea what he's saying? Well, this is what he's telling you, because he said nobody can receive this saying unless it's given to you. So in one instance, he's telling you that you got some people who were born eunuchs or celibate or without their private parts from their mother's womb. He said then you got some men who were made eunuchs by men, meaning a man cut off their private part. But then he's saying that you have some people who have deliberately chosen to be celibate for the kingdom's sake. You know what I'm saying? Not I can't find nobody to marry me. Not that I don't want to be married just because I don't want to be married. But did like what Anna did. My husband died. I could have married another man. I chose to be celibate for 84 years for the kingdom's sake. Everybody can't. That's not for everybody. Do you know what I'm saying? And ain't no shame in that. That's not for everybody. That's why Paul said, I would like if men were as I am. I mean, you can't say you a eunuch. You ain't but 22 years old. You ain't at no point to say you a eunuch. You probably ain't been to word. See, you're too focused on women. You ain't going to achieve your goals because you're too worried about women.
You said a man cut off somebody's private part?
Yeah, castration.
But I thought they do that, they can't even come into the kingdom.
It does say that. But he's just saying that you have men on this earth who were made eunuchs by men. You have people at that time period, they used to do that as a punishment. Cut a man's schlong off.
I heard it was like an African tribe. Cheating with his wife, he had to cut it off.
They do that. Some of them do. Just the same way that they circumcise young girls over there. By cutting off their clitoris. Very gruesome thing. Watch the documentary on this. Very gruesome. Yeah, no, everybody's not meant. It's not necessarily that everybody's not meant to marry. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is you got some men who will be like what Paul was. Paul was unmarried for the gospel's sake. You know what I'm saying? Because Paul stated in 1 Corinthians 9 that he has power to lead about a wife. Hey, Tabby, you sleeping? I haven't seen you in a long time. Are you okay? I missed Tabby. You know, when I first started dealing with the word, and I began to understand all that, I didn't have the thought process of I'm not gonna get married for the word. But if that was the case, I'm cool with that. Some people weren't cool. And I'm talking about this way back in 2012. Well, not even 2012, like 2009, 2010, when I was starting to understand that if that's the case, that's cool, long as my soul's saved. See, where he at right now, you're not gonna get to the point because you worrying about a woman. So guess what? The adversary gonna know that's what you worry about. And guess what he gonna do? He gonna send a woman who look like the similitude of righteousness of which you desire to catch you up. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be careful with that. Focus on Yah. And Yah will direct you. The book says in Psalms 37, a good man's steps are ordered by Yah. So if he order your steps, he'll order you right in the pathway of a righteous woman. She'll be right there in your face. You won't be able to miss it. You won't be able to miss it. If you miss it, it's because you can't see and you can't read. Meaning you don't know the book, so you wouldn't be able to read to see that that's a virtuous woman right there in your face. No, it's what it is. But let's continue. Let's go back to 1 Kings chapter 2. Well, most of all y'all married, so. But like this here though, that's like what Paul said though. Like, shoot, that man said, "Hey, I got control over my urge." Let's go on and get it for him. 1 Corinthians 7, so he can see it. I kind of skimmed through it the other day, but we read it for you. I pick it up at verse 32. Say hello, Tabby. 1 Corinthians 7 and 32. But I would have you without carefulness, that he that is unmarried care for the things that belong to the Lord, and how he may please the Lord. But he that is married care for the things that are of the world, and how he may please his wife. There is a difference between a wife and a virgin. What's the difference between a wife and a virgin? That's just for the women. Just for the women. What's the difference between a wife and a virgin? Just whatever, like I said, I'm going to read what the text, I'm going to see what he got in this epistle letter, but what's the difference between a wife and a virgin, Shayla? Not, of course, virgin in that aspect, what he's saying is a young woman of marriageable age, and clearly she wouldn't have had sex. But what's the difference between a wife and a virgin? Come sit down. Calm down. A wife, basically, what's the difference between an unmarried woman and a married woman? She's not tied to a man, indeed. Wives have responsibility. A virgin is like a child. What about you, Nisha? What's the difference between a married woman and an unmarried woman? What about you, D? What's the difference between a married woman and an unmarried woman? What about you, Little Muffin? Now, there's one key point y'all left out that's in the text, which I can see why you probably wouldn't think about that off the top of your head. We're going to read it right now, though. It says there's a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman care for the things of the Lord, that she may be Kadash both in body and ruach. You know what I'm saying? That key point of what he's saying, because if she unmarried, what activity she ain't partaking in? Exactly. That's what he's referring to. That's the main thing that he's referring to, is the main difference. Because she worrying about the things that are of Yah, and she's set apart in her body and her spirit because she's not participating in sexual activity. meaning that she's sanctified solely over the Yah and Yah alone. He say, but she that is married care for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. And this I speak for your own profit, that I may not cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, that you may attend unto the Lord without distraction. And that's another difference between being married and unmarried, because when you married, that can lead to you being distracted from the word and what we're expressing to this young man right now. And you so worried about a woman, you're going to be distracted. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to be able to focus on Yah as you would want to. But that's why he said, I don't want to cast a snare on you like he's trying to tell you. I ain't trying to tell you not to do it, but he's trying to give you a clear view and a clear understanding that when you enter into that particular partnership, it's certain things in the Lord you're not going to be able to do. Like this here, right? We done went over this before. If a woman fasting, if a woman make a vow, what can her husband do? He can disannul her vow. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? If you wanted to fast, you can fast whenever you want to. But if you didn't set it up with your husband before you fasted and he asked for sex, that's gonna break your fast. When you're not married, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be concerned with that. Remember, we just read it about Anna. She was fasting day and night. She didn't have to worry about her husband coming to her saying, come on, baby, let's go ahead in the back room. She didn't have to worry about that. He said, but listen what he tell you. But if any man think that he behave himself uncomely towards his virgin, and if she pass the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will. He sin not, let them marry. Now let me tell y'all something, because I just seen somebody talk. That's when them niggas be teaching that the Bible teach that when a girl hit her period, you can have sex with her. And it's Hebrew niggas that teach that. That's not what that means. Because guess what? If you got a woman of marriageable age, a young virgin, that woman grown. They were not giving little girls to grown men. You know what I'm saying? And you should know that from what story, Stanley? Genesis 38, with Tamar, and we didn't give no grown woman. Meaning she grown, you been betrothed to her, and you feeling like, you know what? I can't hold it. He said, go ahead and marry. You ain't committed no sin. He said, nevertheless, he that stands steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but have power over his own will, and have so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, do well. So then he that give in the marriage do well, but he that give her not in the marriage do better. So he's saying the individual, if you get married, you did good. But if you say, you know what, I'm going to do this for the kingdom's sake, he say you do better than the person who got married. That's all his point was. Dudes act like he's saying don't get married. Because if you do better, that means you just sanctified the Yah. And you worry about pleasing him. That's how you do better. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. Come on back to 1 Kings chapter 2. Because you can get married, just like it said in Numbers with the daughters of Zelophehad. You know, get married, but only in Yahuwah. If you're going to get married, don't marry somebody that's not of Yah. That just don't make no sense. That just don't make no sense. And the biggest mistake that most men and women on this planet do is you try to go and push somebody into that. That's why when you were betrothed as a young girl, they checked the stock of your family, who they was going to marry you to see that they were godly people, so they knew that they were giving their daughter to a godly man, period. Y'all already knew this here. I know where family come from. I know how he was raised. I know who I'm giving my daughter to. I know that this man is an olive man. He's a leader. He's strong. He going to direct her in the way of Yahuwah. I ain't got no worries about that. And guess what? On the flip side, that man knowing this is a good stock of family. I know that this is a family of virtuous women. I know that this is a young woman that's going to be an aid and help and relief to my son. And we ain't got to worry about nothing. That's the difference. See, now, like I said, we find people. I find them attractive. They not on the word. Let me push them on that. Let me present that. That's not how that works. That means you doing your own will. You ain't doing Yah's will, because you know Yah don't operate that way. You don't have to go outside of him to get what you want. You don't have to do that. If it's now you say you want, you don't have to go outside of him to get what you need. You definitely don't have to go outside of him to get what you want. When you do that, you setting yourself up for failure. There's a high likelihood that could blow up in your face. 1 Kings chapter 2. Yeah, going back to where we started at, we finna get ready to wrap it up. 2 and 1. We're going to be carrying this one here for a while. Because I ain't even got to the main thing I wanted to touch on, and that's that in being a man to be, in malice to be children, but in understanding to be men. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand, who remembers the Hebrew word for understanding? Banah. And you know what characters that is? Sabat, Sayad. What's the last one, Stanley? You spell it B-I-Y-N. Noon. So when you look at that, right, you can see how the sun work is life continual. So when you're a man of understanding, you are doing the sun's work, which leads to eternal life. No doubt, no doubt. Definitely. Virgin not obligated to please her husband, but Yah. And you definitely marry. That's indeed. Marrying a woman who ain't in the word is like Ahab when he married Jezebel. You're going to be around here serving Baal. And guess what you're going to do after that? Kill a man for his vineyard because your wife with that. See, but that's a weak man. He wasn't an olive man. He wasn't a leader because he let his wife. He knew what his wife did and he didn't rebuke her for it. He know in our law you can't take nobody inheritance. That's why he asked that man for his inheritance. You know that. You notice that, right? You know, in most kingdoms, the king just take it. He knew our law. He had to ask that man, "You'll sell it to me?" He said, "No, I ain't gonna sell you that." That's why he went back to the house sad, because he knew, according to Torah, it wasn't nothing he could do. And guess what his wife did? You the king. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care. He supposed to know as soon as cuz came up dead and she came talking about take that vineyard, stone that hoe. That's the first thing supposed to stone this hoe. You know what I'm saying? Stone her now. Because we don't know, baby. Oh, no. I don't do stuff like this. I don't operate like this. But what did he do? Showed himself to be a weak man. Showed himself to be a man of no value. Showed himself to be a man of no integrity. Because he went right after what his desire was. A real man does not seek after instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? He will delay gratification. Notice that one of the attributes of an alpha man or an olive man is self-sacrifice. So you know we're going to have to focus on. We ain't going to focus on all of them because it's 38 things. But we probably get at least 20. Right now we just laying the groundwork. And we laid the groundwork last night and Wednesday. We're girding your mind up and showing yourself to be a man. With that aspect, that once you do that, now you can begin to actually show how you the Alpha and Omega, or the Aleph and the Tav, or the author and the finisher, the beginning and the last. You know what I'm saying? And then begin to walk in that behavior. So when this woman sees you, she sees Yahusha. That's who she sees. That's why I say the women's supposed to. Why would Yah ask the women to submit themselves unto their husband as unto the Lord, unless this man was behaving that way? And even if he wasn't, he still want that woman to do that because you doing that for me. See, when he tell you in Colossians, he say everything you do it as unto the Lord and not to men. So even if the nigga's stupid, even if your wife's stupid, even if your boss stupid, even if your cook, do it because you're doing it for him. Remove it from your mind that you're doing it for this human and get it in your mind that I'm doing this for my God. But if this person is godly, don't you think it would be much easier to do it for them? Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't it be easier? And that's the aspect of it. Like right now. How many of y'all feel like you could identify a godly person if you saw them? No holding, no conversation, just from straight observation. How many feel like y'all could do that? Besides Stanley. So Stanley the only one in here feel like he could do that? Well, I'm highly disappointed and saddened all in the same breath. So only Darius and Stanley feel like they can do that. I'm just saying, period. Like if you were out and about, going about your daily life, that you would be able to observe and be able to determine that a person, by observing their behavior, not having no conversation with them, nothing, just not knowing their background, just observing their behavior. Because you should be able to do it. If you say how many of y'all feel like you a babe or you a full age? And this is not I'm like, I seriously, I want to know that from everybody. How many of y'all feel like you a babe? Ooh, that hurt. Does anybody in this room feel like they're a babe in the word? Feel like they're a babe in the word? Alicia, you still feel like you a baby in the word? You used to say that all the time. You was a baby then, though. You feel like you a babe in the word? I'm asking. I can't tell you. I'm asking you. Do you feel like you a babe in the word?
Not a baby. More like,
What was that? What you called your? What was that you called your son?
that was a pre-thought.
That what you is right now? You making up words?
No. I just knew that. That was what, yes, so, yeah.
So you're a toddler?
I ain't know.
So you got on pull-ups now?
No, I got one.
You got on what? Depends. That's for old people. So that means you drinking Metamucil.
No, for real. I don't think I'm a baby.
No, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to tell nobody what they are. I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm a toddler.
Do you feel like this here? What you feel like you is, Stanley? At this very moment as we speak. What about you, Darius? What about you, Shayla? No, I'm talking about, matter of fact, because I want to do it in the example that what she said. Do you see yourself as a babe, as a toddler, as an adolescent, or a full-grown adult? So I'll start that over again, and we'll start going this way. So D, you can go first. You're an adult. She's a toddler. What about you, Darius? Do you see yourself as a babe, a toddler, an adolescent, or an adult? What about you, Stanley? Said an adult. What you say, Shayla? Brandon said, a babe. Absolutely, we should have that mindset that we should see the trace of Yahushua in you. Indeed, with Abigail and that thing. Any of y'all, you can answer that. Do you see yourself as a babe, an adult, an adolescent, or a toddler? What about you, Caleb? Do you see yourself as a babe, a toddler, an adolescent, or an adult? Toddler. What about you, Monte? Nisha? Will?
I say young adult.
So a good adolescent. What about you, Muffin? Huh? And it's not necessarily age, but adolescent is like what he say, having the mind of a teenager or somebody in their early 20s. You still would be considered to be an adolescent. Really, adolescent. So you have pre-adolescent, which is like 12 to 14, or maybe like 10 to 13, and then they consider you to be an adolescent from 14 to 18. GP say he a babe. Kira say she's late adolescent. She's nearing adulthood. What you say, little muffin? So you feel like you're a late adolescent. What about you, Dwight? Now, as everybody made these answers, when we start going through this text, this text going to shine that mirror up to see that all of us fit that, what we just stated.
Yes, it is.
As we go through this here. And my memory pretty good, so I kind of remember what everybody said.
It depends on what you judging from. That's what.
No, go through all the attributes of what it is, defining what a man is according to the text, which also can be translated over to a woman for us to be able to gauge where we're at. Because like one of the things that it mentioned, if you're a fool, how many of y'all feel like you're emotional and you make decisions or have reactions based off your emotions? Then you can't even say that that's childlike. That's toddler, baby-like behavior. Remember when we dealt with it, say that that Yahuwah is slow to wrath? Like if you get angry real quickly, you can't say you're a full age. You couldn't be able to say that because Yahuwah doesn't get angry quickly. He say anger rests in the bosom of fools. Or if you don't have self-control. you can't say that you're a full age. If you don't know how to control your mouth, can't say you're a full age. You know what I'm saying? Remember, because James tells us that if you can control your tongue, what did James say you can do? It's in James 3 to be specific. He said if you can control your tongue, what else can you do?
He's trying to compare that to a boat.
Who?
You're comparing it to a boat or something like that.
To a certain extent. Let's look at it. James chapter 3. Let's look at it. I can't recall. I think I know what you, but I can't recall exactly what it was he was comparing it to. So we'll just look at it. Okay. Johnny said adolescent. Aki said an adult. Yeah, definitely is. He definitely been dealing with the word longer. GP said he's a babe, and DAP say he an adolescent. Because you know what adolescents got a big old problem with, right? Making horrible decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like if your decision making is bad, hey, I don't know why y'all running around here like this a track. Y'all need to find somewhere to place your butts at. Because if you got bad decision making, because remember what we dealing with. What did we read what Paul said? He said when I was a child, he did what? Thought as a child. So you got to check your mindset and how you think. You got to check your mindset and how you think. That's going to tell if you're an adult in the word or not. You have to check the way you speak, your conversation. Because of the abundance of the heart, the mouth do what? So that means I have to check your thoughts. So the conversations you have, the things that interest you, the things you talk about on a regular basis, is going to dictate if you're a full-grown person or not. And then, of course, your thoughts and your words are going to lead to what? Your actions. He said, I thought as a child, I spake as a child, and I did as a child. But when he became a what? A man, I put immature things away. This is James chapter 3, verse 1. He said, my brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. So if you can control your mouth, you can control your whole body. Meaning you can control your lusts. You can control all your actions if you can control your mouth. Because the book says your tongue is the smallest member, but causes the most trouble. He say, behold, we put bits in horses' mouths. Y'all know what that means, right? And they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. Behold, also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet they are turned about with a very small helm, wheresoever the governor lists. Meaning, the steering, whatever they call it in the boat. No, that nigga was in the Air Force. I can't remember what they called it in the Navy. You know what they call the thing in it? Yeah, I think that's what it is. All I remember is on the show, starboard side. That's all I remember. He say, even so the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindle. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defiles the whole body, and set on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and have been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. And see, if you could control your tongue, that means you could control your thoughts. Oh my, I'm sorry to hear about that. Brother Brown say he an adult. No doubt, no doubt. PTS, oh my. He does let you learn from your mistakes. I can say what I started dealing with the word in 2009, probably came full age, probably sometime I'd probably say in about 2013. But I had a lot of experiences and sufferings along the way that kind of helped accelerate that process. You know, that process don't really happen in a short period of time. You know what I'm saying? It don't really happen in a short period of time. Hey, yet y'all still running and being highly disrespectful and churlish. Why? Yeah, I laughed at you. I laughed at you. Oh, she caught him in the eye. That's unfortunate. So, you can control your mouth, you control your whole body. Because if you can control your mouth, guess what else you can control? If you can control your mouth, what else can you control? Not just your body, but you can control your heart, which is going to control your body. Because you can control your thoughts. The book tell you that if a man can't bridle his tongue, his religion is vain. Like, you got to really know how to move about this like this here, right? To say you are full grown. Because also, look, in this instance, right? Because if we are full age, then what should we have been, what we should have obtained by that point? Absolutely. You should have obtained that. Because that's what you seeking to grow up and become, is a son of God, a woman of God, like literally like him. That's the end goal of growing up. You grow up to receive your inheritance. Let's go back to this 1 Kings 2 so we can wrap this up for the day. 1 Kings 2:1 again. And then we're going, what time is it?
23.
Yeah, I know it. What time is it?
23.
All right. He said, now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgment and his testimonies, as is written in the Torah of Moses, that thou may prosper in all that thou do, and wheresoever thou turn thyself. So that's the aspect we're going to be looking at in combination of what we read in 1 Corinthians 13, and we got to grab what's in 1 Corinthians 14, and can then continuing down the pathway with that olive or that alpha, and see how we can see these attributes and encapsulate these attributes so that we can be full-grown men and do exactly what David told Solomon to do, which is to show yourself a man. Because your objective should be to show yourself as a man. So hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We'll start right there. Appreciate everybody on the stream. Bless everybody in the name of Yahuwah. Now, I know that's pretty rough, man. Brother said he got PTSD, so. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Shalom. Yeah, he was. Indeed, it's a battle every day, and you ought to pray for one another. Absolutely. I agree with that, Brother Brown, and that I do. I can't speak for everybody else, but that I do. But I appreciate everybody out the house of y'all in the name of Yahushua. Bless all y'all out there. Love all y'all. Remember to stay strong. And the purpose of while we going through this here is to get us to the point that you can be able to look up and say that I am of full age in Yahuwah. Bahashem Yahushua. That's the objective. Is to be, because when you do that, then guess what? When somebody sees you, Shalom Trina, when somebody sees you, they see Yahuwah. Bahashem Yahushua. That's what they see. That's why I asked y'all that. Like, you see somebody, can you identify a godly person by observation? Shalom, Mom. Can you see them by observation? Huh? So with that being said, y'all willing?